Good morning. So we're going to kick this off a little early today and take a look at what we've got. I just want to get my prep done so I can settle and do a couple other programming tasks before the open. So today, February 14th, 2024, happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day and blessed beginning to Lent. On our earnings, AM, we have Sony, CME Group, and a bunch of other little companies that aren't worth mentioning. Aftermarket, we have Cisco, Oxy, and again, a bunch of other smaller ones. So still got earnings actively going on, but less and less important companies reporting now. So releases at 6 a.m. Central, 7 Eastern, we had 30-year mortgage rates, mortgage applications, and the market seemed to act positively to that. Didn't expect a whole lot of movement out of it, but we are currently trading above the previous day's high on ES. NQ, we're a little bit weaker here, trading back in the range and value. So a little disconnection there, but we still have some time before the open. 9:30 Central after the open, we have Goolsby speaking. We have Bailey at 10 Central, 10:30 Central is crude inventories. We have crude right now is moving up towards the top of its balance. And then 1400 or 1600, sorry, after the close, we have Bar speaking. In current business in the market, we have the GEX numbers are down a little bit. We had a bigger drop before the market yesterday, but ahead of CPI, I didn't put a lot of weight on that, but they came down a little bit more yesterday. We do have some positive inflation data out of Europe, which is interesting. It may lead people to believe that the CPI numbers that came in hot were maybe just a blip, but that's just theorizing. And then, the market will see any current business related to the mortgage numbers that came out. So what have we done? So yesterday, we had a big gap down. We opened up the lower end of the overnight session, and then we moved quite a bit lower. So we tried to push up into the gap a little bit, and we actually filled the previous gap that we had. And on filling it, that's where we found sellers and ended up moving below the existing low a day. So taking the IB high and the IB low, and moved down quite a bit and took the previous week low, RTH low. When we hit that, that's where we saw a big rally about 40 points or so into the close. So that had us close inside the IB, very close to unchanged, interestingly enough. So most of the work was done in the overnight market yesterday. Just a lot of volatility in the RTH session. And one of the things I commented on the video I did after the market closed was that there seemed to be a lot of OTF in the market. Just references weren't working the way they usually do, or they have been past couple months. So we saw decent volume, saw about 400K in the overnight session, about 230, that was after the CPI number. And then in the regular trading hours, we saw about 1.6 million. So almost 2 million altogether, way lower than the high end of that, but better than what we've been seeing. So that's a positive thing I could say about that. So, what did we not do yesterday? We were not able to close below our overnight low. We actually closed within our overnight range. I think that's something worth noting. So they could have done a better job of selling. Coming to the open, they were able to regain these levels and hold them. And then, as you see in this overnight session, we're actually trading above yesterday's RTH session. So sellers are not doing that great of a job right now. Another thing that I mentioned yesterday before the open was that, you know, we've been not gapping up. We've been one time framing up 14 out of the last 15 weeks. You know, very strong moves. Everybody is aware, all-time highs. So if you want to be a buyer and haven't been able to buy or wanted to buy more, this would be a perfect opportunity for you if you think the market's going to continue higher. So I thought we might wrestle with a little bit of that yesterday. And, you know, in my opinion, I think that's part of what happened is that, you know, we did have a lot of selling, but I think we had people that like these prices, that'll buy at these prices. So we'll see. We'll see if this continues, if we can one time frame up today, if we can start to kind of notch away at this gap, and we'll monitor for continuation. So to get us onto our levels, if we do open above the previous range, this whole gray area right here is the gap. This is the mid gap. So top of the gap, bottom of the gap. Bottom of the gap obviously is RTH high from yesterday. So if we can open up in this range, then, you know, one of the areas I'm going to be watching very closely is this previous high, this gap bottom. And I would love to see a test of this to try a long position to see if it's going to work. And as we move higher, then it's monitoring for continuation and seeing, you know, the first place that I would keep my eyes on here is this weekly VWAP at 5,008 and this mid gap at 5010. Now, 5016 is a really interesting level. 5017 is a really interesting level because this is where we broke down after CPI, and it's our high time frame. I don't have that chart up. It's a high time frame call wall. So if we can hang out up here, if we can get pinned up here, if we can trade above this, that's very bullish in my opinion. If we struggle even getting to the weekly VWAP and we can't, it doesn't look like we want to get pinned up here by the weekly VWAP, that's trouble for bulls in my opinion. You know, as long as we can hold the previous day's high, even if we balance in here, I think that's positive, but I won't be looking for continued move up at that point. So the weekly VWAP in this mid or the first gauge that I'm going to be watching for continuation, then the call wall, and then I think we have a much easier move up after that, because we'll be able to judge pretty well what the sellers are doing. So NQ very similar. Again, this gray area is the gap on NQ from yesterday. Turn on overnight session so we can see. Crunch this up a little bit. So you can see on NQ, we actually closed quite a bit higher. So where we closed, this is where we closed our overnight session. This is where we closed our RTH session. Values overlapping to lower the on close. But then in the overnight session today, last night, we're trading up near the highs. We've taken the overnight high, or the RTH high in the overnight session, but we're not currently trading above it. So it's going to be the same as ES. I'm going to be watching to see if we can trade above, stay above, and start to fill in this gap area. So we have the weekly VWAP and VPOC in the same area right here with mid gap. So again, that's another great reference to keep an eye on for continuation. And then we have, let's see, so that's actually above our breakaway point. Our breakaway point is basically overnight high right now. So that's very interesting to me. Let's look at this chart open yet. Let's see if I have it here. All right, so this is gold. Let's look at it over here. All right, so I have ES here. This is our balance area that I was talking about, our weekly balance. So that's what I'm going to be keeping an eye on to see if we can get above or below that balance. Take a look at RTI, RTY. RTY is also trading up near yesterday's high. I haven't marked out the gap level here, but you can see the gap level. Just throw a quick and dirty gap zone on here for now. Not very interested in RTY today. Gold I am. So gold, you can see this again, it's our weekly chart. You see we've closed below our weekly balance, and we've already taken our overnight low. We're currently trading right at our overnight low. So if we can take the overnight low and the regular trading hours after the open, then I'm going to be watching for us to take the overnight low. Take a quick look at Bitcoin. Strong move up on Bitcoin. So this is, I haven't looked at Bitcoin yet this morning, but you know, we had this 2-day balance area here, and now we're cleanly breaking above that balance area. This is micro Bitcoin futures, so the volume isn't the best on this. We can see on our weekly chart and our daily chart down here. So that's about it. I do want to look at the 10-year. Where's my 10-year? Well, it's not. That's because I didn't save that. So there it is. All right, so the 30 years looks very similar. We have more weakness out of the 30-year long end of the curve than we do the short end. But the 10-year looks like it wants to continue down as well. So that's where our bonds are sitting at. I'm going to pull up Trading View chart since we have a little time. Okay. So we can see, I'm going to throw ES up on this one. So we see where we broke down here. That's where we have our call wall on ES. So that's a very interesting spot. We'd like to see if the 0DT comes in there as well. I'll get this off my screen. Pour low. So that's Also value area high. That's all I got for right now. I'm gonna kick back, get my price map ready, my stats ready, check in with a couple groups, and then get ready for the open. Sometimes this is a hard part, getting lulled to sleep. Yeah, we're fixing to open up here in a couple minutes. Not much has changed. Still a poor low in the last two periods. So if we open up in range, where are my stats? There we go. Higher out of range. Previous high, 72% probability. Previous value area high, 55%.
German Economy Minister Habeck says the government to revise 2024 growth forecast down to 0.2%.
Previous VPOC, 41%.
Protect your trade from macro headline risk with financial growth. Now only $99 a year.
Previous mid, 30%. So that gives us kind of a good picture here. About 30 seconds.
Fed Gillespie says even if inflation comes in a bit higher over the next few months, it's still consistent with our path back to the target. The supply side may continue to help us this year. If we stay restrictive too long, we will have to worry about employment side of our mandate. Current policy stance is quite restrictive. That said, CPI data yesterday was troubling. It's something I am watching. I expect improvements in housing services inflation to resume.
So 30-second opening range is in. I'm looking for potential break of the bottom of that.
Inflation is already at 2% on a 12-month basis. The forecasting rate, higher productivity growth, if it continues, would have profound.
If we break the bottom of the range, that'll also be our the open that we lose. NQ to the high of its opening range. We still have this gap below here on ES that we haven't filled yet. It doesn't even look like they're going to try to fill that. At least at this point. So we have an open auction. We're still within the opening range on ES. Seeing a little order book pressure on NQ. Very close to the open on NQ, moving towards the open on ES. Try to short here, see if we can take the bottom of the opening range. This look like I'd be able to get it on there. A little better place just in case. Doesn't look like it's got a lot of selling pressure here, so. Take it off, see if I can get it at a better price. Or a worse price.
According to Axios, Netanyahu declined to send Israeli delegation to Egypt for more hostage talks. He did not approve sending an Israeli delegation to Cairo on Thursday to follow up talks over a possible hostage deal, two Israeli officials said.
We then just took that one off because opening range trades I want to see work pretty quick. So we'll just monitor now, see if we can continue to move lower, fill the gap. The way we're moving right now, be interested in taking a long. We'll watch and just see how this develops. Full session VWAP is very close to the previous high day. So I like that structure there. That gives us a place to see if we have some buy orders sitting there. See a little bias on ES 300 lots. What happened there? See if we can get a reaction here. So no reaction from buyers at the previous high day. I think that's pretty telling. We have some passive orders kind of soaking up some of these sell orders, but now I get a bunch of buyers step in. So we're back into balance. A pretty big sell tail. So I'm going to wait for the next period. See where the next period opens up. A little late reaction there. Seeing some more ice come in.
Fed speed says it's totally clear that inflation is coming down. Do you want to stay up to date with the latest and complete for northbound payrolls? Then sign up today and get our special offer of financial use pro for a year's worth of our service for the price of 1 month and 92%.
We're getting close to the open on ES, but we're still way below it on NQ. Open on NQ is up here. The way we had that kind of poor bounce, I was expecting to see that we might have some buyers kind of try to pile in there at the lows and then end up getting taken out. So we'll see. So we're halfway through the session, or the first period. We have 104,000 contracts traded on ES, so decent. Not as much as yesterday, obviously, but still decent. We're holding the mid on ES, but we are not on NQ. But I'm obviously wrong on NQ now, so. Yeah, out of that trade. Now we're back to the open on NQ. Having a hard time retaking the open on both ES and NQ. Seeing some larger sells come in. Not getting much on large lots, so net. I think QNES, I'd like to see both of them stay below the point of control.
But there wouldn't be a risk of recession in the United States. Fiscal says that scenario is a threat. At 10 a.m. this time, we expect comments from Bank Governor Bailey, who testifies to the House of Lords Economic Affairs Committee.
So I'm going to take one off as we get a little closer to the lows. That'll make up for that first short. If we can't stay below these singles, I might take it all off. Starting to see some people interested in being buyers down here. bit of a fight here.
We expect comments from Bank of England Governor Daly, who testifies to the House of Lords Economic Affairs Committee.
Taking it off there. Got a lot of buy orders ripped through there real quick. So 5 minutes left in the period. Yeah, still not really able to get above the open. Let's see here. I want to be short. You know, the only thing with ES trading above its previous range makes it a little more difficult. But we're not able to stay above the open. We're not able to get half gap or weekly VWAP. So at this point in the session, there's not a lot of strong buying. Just enough to make it hard on the shorts. Really not a ton of liquidity either. And a lot of people selling the open. There we go. Gold 1 time frame and lower. Nat gas 1 time frame and lower.
Shortly expect comments from Bank of England Governor Daly.
Crude 1 time framing higher. Russell's 1 time framing higher. Bitcoin, nice gap. My ZN is. All right, so here's B period. We're above the open on ES and NQ. Lots of sweeps up here. So now we have a little bit more to lean on.
Fed school teachers, I don't know if higher productivity will be sustained. And Bank of England's Bailey says latest inflation figures are good news. Fed school says if it continues at faster than long-term trend, it will change our monetary policy decision. And Bailey says overall inflation data leaves us broadly where we expect it to be. Bailey says this week's data does not really change our view from the February policy decision.
So B periods inside bar on both indexes, NQ and ES.
Bailey says we have moved from how restrictive policy for how long. And Shell sees LNG competitive versus oil alternatives this year.
This is gold. So this is interesting. We're one time frame lower, and then we actually put in some singles, and we're closing those singles right now on gold. So it'd be an interesting place to look for a short.
services inflation is not compatible with 2% inflation. Bailey says we are seeing signs of pay growth coming down. The latest wage data shows quite a marked reduction, but not as far as we thought. Bailey says we need to see more evidence of pay growth easing. Iraq agreed with some OPEC members on new additional voluntary cuts starting from January 2024, according to the Iraq cabinet statement. Goolsbee says sustained productivity trend would change the Fed's thinking.
On a bullish delta on NQ.
And Bailey says, frankly, in the balance whether we have a technical recession in the second half of 2023.
I like on gold that the overnight took the previous day's low, and then we've already taken the overnight low today, and we've taken that 2000 level.
Bailey says we are now seeing signs of the beginning of a growth pickup.
On gold, I was looking for when we filled these singles. This reference there, I'm a little worried about. I only put one contract on. Want to see us hold that. We have some liquidity down here on gold. Keep an eye on it here for a second. See what NQ's doing. There we go. Nice break on gold.
And the Iraq oil ministry will revise and correct any increases in its crude production it found in the coming 4 months to abide by OPEC Plus agreement, according to the state.
Kind of waiting on C period for these.
Bank of England Bailey says there's still a degree of uncertainty over the labour market.
Oh, this is a yield. Where is it at? I was looking for 10. What the best price action today on the indexes? Let's see. So we have Goolsby 9:30, 10 o'clock Bailey, 10:30 crude. And then bar after the close. So crude's pretty much it for today. Unless we're getting any surprises. So on C period, if we can stay down here, we're going to move value down. We've already taken the overnight low. Let's see if we can get back below the overnight low on gold. Yeah, it's just crisscrossing the open. Pretty indecisive. Bank of England, Governor Bailey. It is frankly in the balance whether we have a technical recession in the second half of 2023. I think he's basically saying there, depends on who you ask. I'd really like to see gold trade lower, a little lower. I'd like to see it stay trading below the overnight low. But frankly, it looks like buyers are coming into that market. Let's see, we have 15 minutes left in this period. We're trading below 2,000. I'd like to see next period take the low one time frame down. Look like we're going to take the IB high on ES.
Let's not get too fixed out about yesterday's inflation data.
Same on NQ.
Taking a look at the fear and greed index, 74 out of 100 equals greed, and the crypto fear and greed index, also 74 out of 1. If you want to stay up to date with the latest or non-farm payroll, then sign up today and get our special offer when I see both years worth of our service with a price of $1.
Oh, we haven't even set the IB high. Watching too many markets at once.
At 10:30 a.m. time, look at our weekly EIA data. Crude oil inventory forecast 3.35 million on the prior 5.521 million, with a range of 4.962 million to 1.9 million.
So B period, we have one time framed up on both indexes.
1.55 million on the prior minus 3.145 million. Distiller inventory And from Shell, they say a US LNG pause longer than a year is a higher risk.
Let's just get back below 2,000 on gold.
CIA figures were posted in error. Those are the priors.
Posted the wrong EIA figures, numbers. Fed's Goolsby, let's not get too flipped out about yesterday's inflation data. Put in a little volume up here on ES, but kind of getting away from our most accepted price there. So far, both of those maintaining their singles.
Again, EIA have not reported the inventory numbers yet.
So it'd be very interesting if we can maintain this distance here for May period and above our overnights. And very close to half gap and weekly VWAP. It's taking a lot of work to get up here.
And Bank of England Bailey says as headline inflation comes down, that will lower inflation expectations and feed into wage bargaining.
They're a touch of VWAP on ES.
At 10:30 a.m. time, we get our weekly CIA data. Crude oil inventories
About 5 minutes until the IB is set.
1 million, with a range of 4.962 million to 1.9 million. Gasoline inventories forecast minus 1.55 million on the prior, minus 3.145 million. Distiller inventories forecast minus 1.65 million on the prior, minus 3.22 million. And crude shipping inventories prior, minus 0.033 million.
Are we going for the mass unknown or
Even.
we went to the cathedral, right?
Let's see what gold does on the next period. But it's looking like it might balance, so I'm not gonna hold it, let it go against me. Got around 5 points in it there for a minute. But we're seeing the bid ticking up quite a bit.
US stock 6% gain, Nasdaq up 1%. One minute remaining. I'll leave the CIA crude oil inventory.
All right, fixing to flip a new period.
10 seconds.
We'll have our crude. Inventories.
12.018 million. 12.018 million. That's a build on the forecast of 3.35 million. Gasoline inventories, a draw of 3.658 million. A draw of 3.658 million. That was the expected draw of 1.55 million. Distiller inventories, a draw of 1.915 million. A draw of 1.915 million. Lower than the expected draw of 1.65 million. And crude cushing inventories, a build of 0.7 million. A build of 0.7 million. Downside in WTI oil. Stocks in the US Strategic Petroleum Reserve are up 0.746 million barrels at 358.763 million barrels.
Any movement up right now is going to move point of control up until we get to mid. That's as high as it can go right now. Center of the profile. You know, what I'm looking for is one time frame down.
Iraq to compensate over the next 4 months for any excess oil output.
What does the ES want to do here? Does it want to take its IB high? Does it want to fill these singles? Do we have the IB on NQ yet? So very similar look, both of them trading up in the gap above the previous high day. Both of them have singles in A period.
Brent oil prices turned negative after the EIA report. The market an expected build in US crude inventories.
Try to keep an eye on gold here. All right, so it looks like we want to fill the singles. We're watching the singles fill on NQ and on the S. We'll take gold off at the value area low here if we can get down there. What that bottom line is. So I can keep an eye on the equities.
Israel's Netanyahu says there's no new proposal from Hamas in Cairo on the hostage deal. Only a change in its position will allow progress. House Speaker Johnson says the LNG export pause jeopardizes US jobs.
Buy ice on a yes, 0475. We move value up on NQ. If we can fill these singles, we might move value up on yes as well. See if we can get a little more weakness out of gold here. Fixing to fill the singles on a yes. Go ahead and take gold off here. Just lock in a couple points so I can, we'll take a bio break and hopefully come back and see what we're looking like here. All right, we filled the singles. All right, I'm out of gold right now. Close that one down. A little annoying. Look at that liquidation on CL. Just doing some check-ins. I really don't like that we couldn't find support whenever we close the singles on either index. And now we're crisscrossing the open, the mid, point of control. Right in the middle of the range. So, you know, this is, like I said in the beginning of the day, if we could open up in the gap, I'd be watching this area, the gap mid and weekly VWAP for continuation. And I think it's telling us all that we need to know right now, which is don't look for continuation. You know, we still have a buy tail down here. It's looking like we might be making a run at it, but I just don't see any value today. I don't see any value right now. So, you know, we could move up. We could move up another 10 handles, be above the call wall, and say, dang, I missed it. But what is there to lean on here? So we have the IB set. We're currently trading inside of that and with an inside bar. You know, C is inside of B so far. So I just don't see any value. You know, we take the top of, or the top or the bottom of B period. I think even below B period, we might see a little liquidation, and then we might take the low, and then we're going to be back in balance. And I really didn't want to trade inside of this area above the overnight low, below the RTH, previous RTH high. And based on the price action we've seen so far today, it just confirms that I don't want to trade inside of this area. You know, so if I want to jump on and scalp some inventory correction, that's one thing. But Oh, fuck.
He says demand for debt across markets is very strong. You want to stay up to date with the latest or self-farm payroll? Then sign up today and get our special offer for financial growth. Years worth of our service for the price of one month.
Forgot I was even still streaming. I'm gonna cut this short. Not cut it short, but I'm I don't really have a whole lot to say right now, except that we're one time framing down on ES and NQ. Yeah. So the what I'm watching for here is I'm watching for the IB low, the IB high, and that's it. Nothing in the middle is interesting to me right now. But we are one time framing down so far this period. So that's the way I'm leaning, not trading anything right now. Crude oil, I'm interested to see if they can hold these singles. See what's happened to gold. Balancing. RTY. Same shape, really. Let's see what else. What else? Bitcoin, sure, just to the moon. Yeah, we got a poor high on Bitcoin. That's interesting. All right, so that's it. I will see y'all after the close for a post-market debrief.